Hey, welcome to the Battle Brothers podcast. I am here, your host, Aaron, faceless because my webcam drivers obviously need an update, apparently. I don't know why. Joining me are co-host Davis Frye
What's up, bud?
and Mark Hertel. How you guys doing? Just coming off of a team win, a team Battle Brothers win. Um, and Zach Point was on your team as well, right? Was not on your
Yeah, he
team.
was.
Was on your team. Yep, I thought I saw that. So maybe we can convert him to being a battle brother. But so that's what we're going to talk about today. It's been a hectic month. We haven't been able to get together and do a nice episode. We missed a couple events. That's mainly my fault, but it's neither here nor there. So yeah, we're going to be going over those wins today. First off, we always start off with Hobby Corner, though. I am Davis. I know you're going to love to hear this. I am almost done with my World Eaters, so I will be able to get the much needed TTS games and in-person games I've been promising you for a while. But I just finished my Forge Fiend. I just finished my Mauler Fiend. I got one Forge Fiend left, and then my list is painted, and then it's just leisure painting from there. So I'm getting ready for the GT in the end of July at Heart of War in Westminster, Maryland. Um, Other than that, 40K news, new knights are in full force, as I could tell by the RTT I just attended, where I did go 2-1, but my game against the knights I got a 30, which has not happened in a very long time. Other than that, I think that was pretty much the 40K news that's been going on. So yeah, Battlegrounds in Richmond, Virginia, which is one of our hotspots we like to go to here on the East Coast in the Battlegrounds arena. Recently ran a ATC prep event. Away Games put it on, um, and Away Games always does great events. But they did a team event, and we took. There was a lot of Battle Brothers there, but we had one Battle Brothers team. I believe Wobbly Modelers. It was also comprised of Battle Brothers, and then the Lobsters also had some Battle Brothers in it as well. Um, and then we'll claim the away games guys as Battle Brothers too. But the funny thing was, is we were talking about it.
Honorary Battle Brothers.
Yeah, the top three, first, second, and third, were all taken by home teams in the Battle Brothers arena.
And
But
and
no,
just painted
and who won Best Painted again? Oh, Wobbly
Wobbly.
Modelers. Yeah.
wobbly. Yeah.
So for everybody that's tuning, Wobbly Modelers was the pre-Battle Brothers. That's kind of what Battle Brothers turned into. And I mean that had a lot of key players. Austin Wingfield, I believe. Uh, Juice was on
Juice.
that team. Kender, a couple other people. Yeah, they got Best Painted, and they also got fifth place overall. They tied two in the last, but Team Battle Brothers won, and you guys were both on the team. Both had the pleasure to be on the team. Mark, you're on stream, and the final game. If anybody wants to watch that on Warp Charged Gaming, you can look them up on YouTube, and they streamed one game from each team event. But yeah, go ahead and tell me. I guess Davis, we'll start with you. Who all was on your team, and what all were they running? And then you guys can kind of go into your matchups throughout the event, turn by or round by round, and then if you know like what happened in the other guys' matchups, I know it's usually kind of hard to kind of go over their games, but if you kind of what you were feeling, Davis, were you the team captain?
Yeah.
Okay, so you were running around making sure everybody got the points they needed, so you could probably touch on that a little more. But yeah, if you want to go ahead, Davis, and tell us who all was on the team, and what all they were running, and what was your thought process for choosing these factions?
Sure. So we had Josh Campbell. So first we had two kind of implants, Zach Point and Josh Campbell. Zach replaced Mike Taylor. He couldn't make it to this, so we had to bring Zach in. But Mike Taylor will be at ETC with us. Yeah, so we had Zach on Thousand Suns. He's been doing Thousand Suns now for a few weeks, if not a few months. He's been doing pretty good with them. Ed Appel, we had him on Death Guard. This was kind of a last minute switch. Ed was doing Eldar for a while and then guard, but Ed needed something that was just more easy to play, easy to score points. Mark obviously is on Space Marines. He was doing a 3 Land Raider list per usual. Josh Campbell was on Imperial Knights, and I was on Tau Empire.
So kind of prepping for that meta. I think the Death Guard was the right choice. Ed's a great player, and it's good that he could shift to that.
100%. Yeah.
Mark running
Yeah.
your triple Land Raider. Did you switch it up at all for the team event, or were you running pretty much your singles list?
No, it was the single star run at ATC or ACO.
Okay, okay. So powerhouse of a team. I don't think I played with. I don't know if I've met Josh Campbell. I probably have. But I know all the other names on there. I mean, Zach's I think #1 in the country right now. He won't be on your ATC team though. You said Mike Taylor's a great player too. Is he rocking the Necrons for your ATC?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Mike will be on Necron. So we won't have a Thousand Suns player for ATC.
Okay. Which I mean, Mike's good with his Necrons. 1,000 Suns are good. They're very hard to pilot, and I know Zach was more than capable of running that, especially after he kind of got shafted at Atlantic City Open. I know he was doing really well there. So yeah, I'm trying to pull up the games myself. Of course, the app's kind of messing up, but round one, you guys got paired into. Well, I guess first Davis, because you were running an interesting towel list, and it was the talk of the tournament about some gorillas or something like that. Old Harambe himself. Um, Mark, no offense, we know what your list does. You've been on here quite a few
Hey,
times
it's an
because
oldie but a goldie.
we can't get any special winners on here because you're winning all the tournaments. So we just keep interviewing you. But Davis, you don't get to play a lot because you are always TOing. So you got to play, and you played Tau. You veered away from your Emperor's Children, which, by the way, badass display board. We will probably feature that at some point, just because it is probably the best display board I've ever seen. The idea was
it,
amazing.
it,
She did a great job
that
on
thing's
it.
sweet.
Yeah.
It's sweet.
So, but you switched to Tau. Kind of go, if you don't mind, before we get into the round one pairings. Kind of go over like why everybody was talking about this particular list.
Sure. So the list itself was strange. I saw it first at Atlantic City Open. A guy we played was running a very similar style of the list. It's basically a pure threat list that has pretty good shooting attached to it. So it's 27 crew talks bodies, 9 of which are the riders, and then 18 of the rampagers. So it's 27 T6 5 wound models that you have to chew through. And the basis of the whole list is that when you expose yourself to something to kill the gorillas, then you have 3 Skyrays and 3 Hammerheads that might just blast you off the board. Which is exactly what happened. They would go the gorilla scout up 7, so I would take midfield. Something would have to come out to shoot them. They're pretty hard to chew through. It turns out a bunch of T6 5 wound models with 5 of intervals of shooting can kind of just live. So it kind of takes a lot of resources to kill them, and by the time you expose all those resources, now you're inside of 3 hammerheads and 3 skyrays.
And I feel like Tao's a good choice for a team as well because you need some armies just can't handle, and that's who you want to match into. And then you choose the open board a lot of times, so you can get those shooting angles. And there's a lot of for guys that don't know about teams, there's a lot of planning that kind of goes into different matchups. There's so many variables, but it makes it a fun time. If you guys also didn't know, Davis's team, y'all went third at Atlantic City Open, correct?
We got second.
You got second. Okay. Yep,
Yeah.
you sure did. You sure did. Missed out on the golden ticket barely because I believe most of those guys on the first place team hadn't gotten one yet. Um, but yeah, so your round one, you got played in Iron Claws Gaming, War Gaming. They were playing
hmm
Drukhari, Emperor's Children, Blood Angels, Death Guard, and Orcs. Davis, you took on the Death Guard, and Mark, you took on the Blood Angels. Davis got an 18-2. Mark, you got a 20-0. Davis, if you can kind of touch on that game, Death Guard is pretty tough, and you took them down with Tau. If you can kind of remember that
Yeah.
game, yeah.
Yeah. So Ray, fucking good dude. Love to play him again. Had a lot of fun. his list was kind of a standard Victorium list. Mortarion, and he had the Demon Prince, a couple Lord of Contagions, Death Shroud, all the drones, the haulers. What made it so dangerous against, or what made the Tau so dangerous against, is that the Sky Rays reroll all hits and wounds against things that fly. They're already reroll wounds, so that's just with their secret missiles. But now you hit stuff that has fly, you reroll hits. So like the drones and Morty, they just get smacked with Sky Rays, and he made a few movement errors. One of which I tried to help. He moved his Demon Prince out, and his toe was kind of sticking out of ability. And I was like, dude, you're about to have 6 tanks upon you. And he wouldn't take it back. He's like, hey, I messed up. So killed everything he pushed out that he exposed. I killed the next turn. Demon Prince died. I never gave him any good deep strike assets with the Death Shroud, so he was only ever able to deep strike against the gorillas, which Death Shrouds kind of bounce off of. And then once you kill, the heavy hitter stuff, Mortarion, the Demon Prince, a couple of these blow drones, the list just kind of falls apart, and I was able to move the tanks down, start scoring points. It was over pretty quickly, but it was a good game. Like I said, great dude. Love to play him again.
Yeah, which is kind of neat because I've noticed every time when I was playing, or I guess I still technically do play Space Marines. That's my second army now that I've switched to World Eaters Hardcore. I'm actually gonna put my son onto my Celestial Lions. But anyways, whenever I take something that's anti-fly, I never get to use it. And I guess a lot of people don't realize that. I mean, Mortarion's a thing. Angron's not a thing anymore. But I mean, when you go up against Magnus or Mortarion, that comes in handy a lot. And the fact that you had good sportsmanship letting him know, and he didn't want to take that back. That also says a little bit about him. He's holding himself to a higher standard. This was a smaller tournament. It wasn't like it was ATC. I don't know. I don't know if I was at an ATC tournament, if I would tell my opponent, no, I made the mistake. I'd probably say, hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it, and take it back. But good sportsmanship on you, and good for him holding himself accountable. It probably makes him a better player by holding him to those strict standards, because it won't be a mistake he makes again. Mark, you went into Blood Angels. If you can kind of go over that game a little bit.
Yeah, I played Daryl. He was a good guy. Running the Blood Angels. He didn't really hide his models too well. Turn one, I went first. I was able to get Tiggy out. They were able to kill Dante's squad. Tiggy and another Land Raider shot into Dante's squad. Killed Dante and his boys. So that was a really big pull for turn one. He goes up, moves some Vanguard vets up, but I think Overwatch and killed by another Land Raider. So he's already down a bunch of pieces, and just spouts from there. He's not able to kill what he needs to kill. I killed what I need to kill. He fails a couple charges, and then he's out in the open. I was just like, start picking up models. I just keep picking them up.
Yeah, and Blood Angels just got like 100 points added to their list too, so they got a little stronger. So that was a good win too. Was there anything notable from the other players that you talked to, Davis, throughout this match? I mean, you guys scored 79-21 overall, so I can't imagine you had to do a lot of moving around saying, "Hey, I really need you to get this win," because Ed tied against Emperor's Children, which is a great thing to do against Emperor's Children because they're one of the best armies in the game, in my opinion. So is Death Guard. But yeah, it looks like Zach got 16-4 against Drukari. Ed got 10-10 against Emperor's Children. And Josh Campbell with his Imperial Knights got 15-5 against Orcs. Was there anything notable or?
No, by the time I finished my game, I looked over and Mark was, doing well. Zach was pretty much in control. Josh had all of his knights still alive, and a bunch of orcs were dead. Ed into the Emperor's Children. So that list was weird. He had three baby knights instead of Noise Marines.
Oh, okay.
And still 3 princes. So it was kind of geared to kill Death Guard.
Did you know that during the
Knowing,
matchups?
yes and no. Honestly, any of us could have killed it. I think, but it was one of those things where Ed would definitely get a tie, and the rest of us will score high.
Yeah, which you
Um,
did. Yeah.
which we all got the pairings we kind of wanted. Zach really wanted Drakari. Josh really wanted the orcs. Mark said he could kill the Marines. So and you'll kind of see a theme as we go. Ed never really scored high in a lot of his games, and you'll kind of see, which is kind of how that Death Guard list is supposed to be built. Wise, he
Which is
kind
an
of just
yep. Go ahead.
he either wins small or ties. So which is kind of what we wanted.
Yeah, which is important to have a player with an army that can go in and either lose a game by very little or tie a game, because in team tournaments every point that you can get matters. If the other people are winning and you can pull out a tie, that's just as good as a win, especially when it comes to scoring mechanics. So round two, you go into X4, which is no slouch. That they play a lot of the team tournaments down in North Carolina that we go to. They're a good team.
Yeah,
We
we always seem to play them.
yeah,
They do.
yep.
We always play them at Juices. We always play them at ATC, and we always play them at uh, Battlegrounds.
And I think they won. Didn't they win this year at the team tournament, or last year? No, it was
No,
this
we
year.
did one last year.
Was it last year? Yeah, I guess. Well, time flies. Yeah. So I've noticed you always play them, and then I'm on the worst Battle Brothers team. We always play their worst X4 team, which is kind of funny, especially when you have so many teams. But anyways, this game you had Josh Campbell with his Imperial Knights into Thousand Sons, Zach Point with his Thousand Sons into Death Guard. Mark, you went into Chaos Knights. Davis, you went into Blood Angels, and Ed went into Orcs with his Death Guard. Davis into that Blood Angels. What was he taking, if you remember, and how did that game go?
Yeah, let me pull his list up. Yeah, so it was a close game. I think I tied.
You did. You tied
Um,
10-10. Yep. I can probably
yeah,
pull up his
so
list too if you don't. You got it.
yeah, I got it right here.
Okay.
So his list was like a typical Blood Angels list. A bunch of MSU stuff. He had a couple dreadnoughts. What really set his off, aside from the others, was he had 3 of 6 Blade Guard veterans. Um, when paired with certain characters, they hit quite hard. I didn't respect them. The first 6 that hit my gorillas, and when only 6 Marines killed 6 gorillas, I had to kind of change the tactics up a little bit. Um,
And their fights first, right? They weren't running the sanguinary
no,
fights. So
not
yeah.
fights first, but strength 8 or whatever, strength 7 on the charge. Uh, AP 2, whatever, 2 damage, reroll ones to hit.
Yeah, but 5
Uh,
attacks each on the charge.
And he's
yeah,
probably
so
trying to
Plus
tack
attack.
up all your Tau vehicles, anyways. That's probably his main goal in that matchup.
no, he never got to the vehicles. He
Hmm. Just kind of ignored
he
him.
kind of misplayed a few of the dreadnoughts. I was able to kill them every time one poked out, but he definitely killed most of the gorillas. It was a pretty low scoring game. I think in total, we both scored less than 100 points total. Yeah, I scored 52 and he scored 57.
Oh wow,
Um,
very very
so
close, very low. What do you know what mission it was?
I don't
Oh
remember.
yeah, it's not a.
Uh, I know it was layout 6. Um, probably taking hold if I had to remember right, but
Do they run it where the attacker gets to choose the mission?
yeah. So the
Okay.
defender chooses a table, and each table has 2 missions.
Okay, yeah. So normal. And I guess I should have asked this at the beginning. Did y'all notice challenger cards coming into play at all as far as
Oh
points?
yeah,
Okay. Yeah,
oh
I've
yeah. I
noticed
mean,
that too, and a lot of people have said that. I think the 6 point differential is a little too close for comfort for a free 3 points. In fact, I think in one of my games at the RTT, I could have scored 2 points, but it would have given them a challenger card, and I was like, no.
yeah.
Well,
They never made a difference in any of my games, but you definitely notice it.
Yeah, I've noticed people are taking
well,
the points more than the CP. Mark, you got something to add?
Yeah, I didn't really notice any challengers missions in my games. Really, they didn't really have any effects.
Okay.
That's just how my list plays.
Yeah, absolutely. And you went into, good gosh, Chaos Knights, and were they the new Chaos Knights?
They were the new Chaos Knights. They were the Lords of Dread. It was like the five big knights. I think like one baby knight. It was pretty vicious.
Yeah, I mean, you got a 14-6 against that. Um, had it not been you, we'll say, had it been me playing, I think Chaos Knights would be favored. I think maybe you outplayed him here because I think that list is really you're fighting an uphill battle in that game, I think.
It's very strong. It's very strong.
Yep. So how did that game go? Because I mean, like I said, I mean, I know your list. Um, that's a very uphill battle for you.
Yeah, he went first. He killed a land raider, put a bunch of knights into it, and just like, all right, cool. Well, I can't hide everything. He killed one of my redeemers. But then I was able to move on up into him. He wasn't able to really kill anything else because he just got that one redeemer. I was able to move up onto him. I killed his fight first knight in shooting, and then I was able to just do a lot of damage to another knight with Tiggy and his boys just shooting the other one. And then from there, it was just a slugfest, just fighting back and forth between each other, trying to make sure that he doesn't kill me, kill enough of myself. I'm able to respond to him. Gilman was a Chad going into his nights. I was able to top a bunch of them with Calgar and Gilman. They were definitely the MVPs in that game. And I was able to just start taking them down. You definitely need Gilman in the night matchup because
Yeah,
he's just like AP4, 4 damage. Knights do not like that.
I'm glad you kept Gilliman in your list. Um, yeah, i- it's not as good as it was, but he is such a tank in combat, especially like that. It's kind of like I wish Angron's my Gilliman, and I wish he was worth taking because I struggle against knights. Mauler fiends are like the only thing I can really do effectively into him. Gilliman just shreds them, and Calgar's
He
good
just
into
shreds
him
them.
too. But
And
I
with
mean,
double oath, I'm able to just like kill one and shooting, and then charge another one in melee.
yep, you were still running the Stern Guard bet, so you had all the reroll and
Yeah,
dev wounds and everything like that. So great win on that. I knew that was an uphill battle. I wish that one was on stream because I would have loved to watch that. Josh went 10-10. Well, I think we went over that. But any notable? That was a very close game, close matchup. It was 58-42 against that team. Were you running around at all, Davis, saying, "Hey, I need you to do this," or were you just kind of everybody was doing what they were supposed to do? Looks like Josh tied, you tied, and Ed tied. So
Yeah, so we kind of knew Mark finished and got the 14. I tied, Ed tied. Josh thought he was going to tie, and Zach kind of asked me how hard he needs to push, and we told him, just get as many points as he can. Um, and that's what he did. So
yeah,
all these
Thousand
guys are
Sons
pretty
and
good
Death Guard.
players.
Oh yeah,
John, Roman, Frank, they're all good dudes, good players. So it's always fun playing them. Um, so it's always good to get the win. I think the closest they ever come to beating us is they tied us one time at Juices.
yeah. X4 to go into them round two is like you get your round two pairings and you're like, oh, round two really like you're hoping to play them in the finals because they're a favor, one of the favors to win. Um, along with you guys and I mean there was a lot of good teams at this event. I was looking through them. So definitely good. So then your round three paired into the other X4 team, which I think was probably their beta team. I don't know. Well, was it their beta team?
I think it was their backup team.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it was their secondary team because we pretty much rolled these guys.
yeah. I see y'all. Well, we'll go over the results from there. But round three, Davis, your Tau got paired into Death Guard. Mark, you went into Knights again. The
Imperial
Imperial
Knights this time,
version.
big difference.
There is a big difference. I think they're slightly worse. Until they get their book. You
No,
think they're
no, no,
better?
no,
Okay,
no,
well
no.
we'll go over that.
I 100% think Imperial Knights are better.
Okay, we'll go over that in a minute. Zach, Thousand Sons got into Adeptus Mechanicus. Interesting choice to bring AdMech, but I'm not going to hate it. Ed Death Guard. with the win, spoiler alert, 14-6. So he didn't tie that one. Winning at Thousand Suns, great win because Thousand Suns are tough in the hands of a competent player. And Josh Campbell's Imperial Knights into Adeptus Custodes, which I think's a pretty good matchup. Um, Davis, you're Tau into Death Guard again. You kind of knew what you were getting into. Was he running a very similar list to the first time you played him?
No, so this one was weird. So this was a hammers list, a Mortarian's hammer. It was a little different only because he had more holes and he had 3 Plagueburst crawlers, which can be kind of weird for Tau. His target priority was kind of off. He never targeted anything that was worth targeting with the Plagueburst crawlers. Like he targeted tanks with them when I would have killed. Like me personally, I would have gone after stealth teams. So he never actually targeted my support elements with the Plagueburst crawlers. Same concept. I threw the gorillas out, and I was like, "I bet you can't kill enough," and that's kind of what happened. He brought a bunch of shit out. I got a good charge off. I went first, made scouted a bunch of stuff up, jailed a bunch of stuff in with the crude hounds and the crude carnivores for a turn or two. And by then I've got gorillas on all 3 points, you know, just sitting there. So uh, picked off everything that came out in the open, and then just won the game pretty easily after that. So yeah, it was a good win for the Tau.
Yeah, part of that may also be you're not seeing Tau on a lot of tables, at least in the singles environment. So maybe he just didn't know what to go after. I know every time I face a army I haven't played in a while, I just kind of wing it. I'm like, well, this looks like is what I should go after. But great win because Death Guard right now are really good. Um, Mark, so you're saying Imperial Knights are tougher. Maybe I'm just looking at it differently,
I
but
think they have. I think the Six of Feel Pain is really clutch. Like being able to be a Six of Feel Pain is 100 times better than like any kind of battle structure you can make someone else take. Like you're more survivable. You don't die as easily. Your armatures are better with the rerolls to hit and wound, so you're wounding and killing things more reliably. I just think Imperial Knights are just a lot more reliable and then survivable.
okay, yeah, and he was running 3 big knights, some armigers, and then some agents and sisters allied in.
Yeah, because you can also get the sisters with for ignore cover on from the emulator. You get more support pieces that actually do things.
Yeah, so how did that game go? You ended up tying it.
Yeah,
Again, Imperial
that
Knights
game
is
was
tough into you.
good for me. It was a good game for me until it wasn't. I had a really good turn one, but he had a better turn two, and then from there, just like I made some mistakes and things went downhill. But I was able to just keep it close. I was able to score a lot higher than him in the beginning. It was Scorched Earth, so he was able to score a lot in the last turn. He went second. He was able to teleport onto my home objective with his teleporting knight, and then he was just able to burn it. So it's like, all right, well, there we go.
Did you want this matchup?
We picked that matchup. I think it was the better matchup for me to take out of the other one that they gave us. I don't remember what else they gave us, but I mean, we got the rest of the wins, so that's what matters.
Yeah, especially in teams, because y'all got 67 to their 33, which is a major win. That you could have lost that game, Mark, and I mean you could have lost. Yeah, a couple of you guys could have lost because the differentials no 20s, but I mean Davis, you had a 17 to 3, which for everybody that doesn't know about teams is differential scoring, so it's not like going all in on a well, sometimes it is going all in. You're usually more aggressive in teams because you're trying to get every little point. Because if you win by 1 point in singles, you win. But if you win by 1 point in teams, you may not win. So great matchup. Was there anything noticeable in this one? I mean, you guys, like you said, you kind of blew them out of the water. Was there any notable matchups in this one, Davis?
Yeah, the only really that ever like was kind of weird was like what Mark was saying was him and was the Knights. All the rest of the games never seemed to be close. Every time I looked over, our team was pretty much in good control of their environment.
Yeah, definitely. So that was the end of day one. You guys went out drinking. I saw the pictures. I was jealous that I was not there. Um, round four, you go right into the lobsters.
The
which
mobsters.
are a lot of Battle Brothers on this team. You had, well, at least two. You had Dusty and Larry. But we always play with these guys: Connor, Mike, Jason. We're always playing. These guys are like the team. They're very good. They travel all around the East Coast playing team events. So team events are their bread and butter. And you guys knocked out the win. So we had Josh Campbell's Imperial Knights into their Imperial Knights. Jason Smith's Imperial Knights. Mark, you went into Larry Tyranids. He Larry was probably like, well, y'all had a good matchup at Richmond Open, I think, if I
Well, he
recall.
brought significantly more anti-tank this time.
Smart, smart. So you went into Larry's Tyranids. Davis Tao went into Dusty, which is always a fun game. Dusty's a fun opponent to play.
Hmm.
Zach, Thousand Sons went into Connor's Eldari, and then Ed's Death Guard went to Mike's Adeptus Sororitas. So Davis, Dusty was probably running his. Well, I think I saw his stream games. He was running the Vindicator Ballistus minus Gilliman, his standard list. How did that game go against you? I know you had a lot of fun tanks to pick off with your big tanks.
Yeah, so it started off very close. For about 3 turns, we kind of traded units back and forth. He was running Sicarius and a bunch of other units like advance and charge. I threw a monkey squad out in the middle, thinking that they would be okay. Try to draw a bunch of stuff out, which they did, but they also just got wiped, which was kind of it made me a little nervous. You lose a whole rampager squad like that, so I had to play a little cagier after that, and we kind of just traded back and forth. Like I said, there was a pretty pivotal turn where he moved to kill both of the monkey squads, and I won't say he messed up, but he targeted them with one Vindicator, and the other Vindicator was just at 18 inches. So I knew if he killed one monkey, the other Vindicator would be out of range if I used a strat. So I popped the strat because you have to do around the targeted. Um, exactly what I thought happened. He killed two, I think, of the six. I pulled them out of range of the other Vindicator, and now they're just kind of They're there. They survived, which kind of swung the game in my favor. That now I can move the monkeys around as I please.
Yeah,
Um,
that
and take control of the board. And now you've got two Vindicators in the open. I'm just gonna smoke check.
and
Uh,
Dusty plays that list a lot, so he's very familiar with it.
yeah, it
Um,
was a great game, and it was kind of the best part of the game was he had one Vindicator at the end of the game. It was bottom of fifth round, right? So none of this matters. I had already won. But him doing this would have gotten him kill one from a challenger card and big game, which would have swung the differential to a 14-6 instead of a 16-4. He moves his Vindicator. I have like 2 CP. I'm like, fuck it. I'm just gonna Overwatch with the hammerhead with the railgun. I roll a 6. I'm like, oh shit, we're in business. I roll another 6, which turns the railgun into dev wounds, and then I roll a third 6 that does 12 mortal wounds to the Vindicator. Um, and while I'm doing this, he's rolling his dice. He thinks I'm messing with him. When in reality, I had just smoke checked an entire Vindicator. So it was a good
yeah,
game.
I,
And
I remember you guys talking about that in the group chat, and because
yeah, and Dusty and I laughed about it, and we talked about it afterwards. But it was a good game.
I will say Dusty's very fun to. I played him at Richmond Open, and it was a good game. But he's one of the he kind of reminds me of Austin Wingfield when you play him. If he beats you, it's still like you feel good about the game. Like he's just fun to play. Like he's I don't know. It's just hard to explain. He's just one of those guys that like it's an enjoyable. It's like you're drinking beers just at your buddy's house playing, even if it's in a tournament setting. So great win against him though. But yeah, when you told me that Overwatch, and that's why sometimes you got to take it. I mean, you didn't really care. You were gonna win anyways, but the rolling three sixes in a row is astronomical statistics. It's just hilarious that happened. And yeah, he's like, haha, yeah, right. And you're like, no, really. And he just
Yeah,
explodes.
it was just kind of funny uh, that A had happened, and B it was it was more like fuck I have CP to burn. But yeah, it was good.
Mark, going into our buddy Larry. Um,
Yeah.
and his Tyranids. He was running the subterranean assault too, which is the new detachment. And it looks like it's a fun detachment. Yeah, kind of go over that game, and did the subterranean kind of come into an effect in your game, or were you
Oh
able to
yeah, I
kind of
mean
spread
he's
it
he
out?
built his list to use the sub training. He had like a bunch of Raveners, a bunch of other stuff to use the tunnels. He's tunneling all over the place, teleporting, doing all that jazz. This game, he went first. He killed a Land Raider, as one does. I mean, I was expecting to lose at least one Land Raider turn one. But he kills Land Raider. He's got three Tyrannosaxes, so he's got the firepower to do it. He kills one Land Raider, brings another one down to 9 wounds, something like that, maybe 7 wounds. That's his turn. He does his things. I move that Land Raider up with Calgar. He overwatches it. He gets a 6, rolls a 2 to wound, so it doesn't wound me. Re-rolls into a 2, so he's out of CP because he does, but he feels wounded, so that's very good. Calgar manages to get out into the middle of the table, and he's in a great position to charge him. Calgar charges in, does a lot of stuff. This game really came down to Calgar surviving. He was just like, I'm not going to take any damage. I'm just going to make all my 4 pinball saves, make all my 4 feeling pains. He charged like a Genestealer squad and a Ravener squad into Calgar's boys on his turn 2. Brings Calgar down to 5 wounds left. He does 1 damage to Calgar. And Connor's just like, all right, cool, brother. Those Raveners are dead. I'm still in combat with this other Tyrannifex and the Storm Lord. He kills the Storm Lord because he did 9 damage to the Storm Lord on his first turn when he got into combat with him. And from there, I just like started picking up stuff, started whittling them down. It really came down to Conquer just surviving.
Yeah, and Larry's a good player. I mean, obviously this is round four, the I would call it the semifinals, I guess, because the finals are next, and the the Lobsters are great. I mean, that's their bread and butter is just team tournaments, and you guys won 68-32, which is not a small win percentage at all. That is a huge win. Josh got 14-6 Imperial Knights and Imperial Knights. Mark, you got 15-5 into Tyranids. Dave, you got 16-4 into Dusty. Zach Points, Thousand Sons got 13-7 against Saldari, and then Ed tied with the Adeptus Sororitas. Any comments on any of those other games that you know about Davis, or was it just kind of self-explanatory?
No, we got the pairings we wanted for the most part. I think the only real question here was Josh. We didn't know really how the Knights on Knights thing would go, but he actually wanted the matchup and he did really well. So
I think honestly,
no,
Knights and a Knights is the right call. You know,
Well, it
they're
was 12 baby nights in Canis, so that was why we did it.
yeah,
yeah,
it's a strange list, but his Josh's list is almost built to kill it. So it was good.
yeah. I just think like sometimes because I mean Knights are tough right now. I think maybe putting mirror matches into that because then it's hopefully going to be a close game anyways, and then one of you guys don't have to worry about kind of teching for that. But great win, which brings us into the final round where you guys went against Away Games, the host team. Um, Davis's Tau. You went to my World Eaters. I saw you beat them when I was watching it, but I'm glad you won because you're my boy. But I was sad to see my World Eaters go down, which he was running. Was he running? He was running. Oh, he was running Dean McKenna. Okay. Um, Mark, you went into Astro Militarium, which is on stream, and we're going to talk about that stream game a little bit because a lot of knowing the rules came into play, and you and I had a conversation last night about that after I watched the stream because we knew a rule, but we kind of learned it together because it didn't
Yeah.
matter. Um, Zach went into Blood Angels. It's Don. Don's a good player, but so is Zach's Thousand Sons. Ed's Death Guard went into Dan's Death Guard, and then Josh's Imperial Knights went into my buddy Walker Juilliard's Thousand Sons. So, Davis, you're Tau into World Eaters, and he was running Demonkin, which I think is popular in the team mechanic. I think it's less popular in the I wouldn't say less popular. I think it's a better detachment in teams than it is solo. And he was running just because I'm a World Eaters nerd. Standard list with the Bloodletters, the Blood Crushers, Triple Forge Fiends, um, and you got an 11-9 against him. So it was a close game. How did that game go? And then how did you kind of tech for that list?
He deployed kind of close, and I deployed on the line, and I went first, scouted up a bunch of monkeys. He scouted his A bound to try to shield his Forge Fiend. Um, moved 7, made a pretty big charge, killed 2 of the 8 bound from the impact mortals, and was able to just pile in and hit 2. Got 2 on the last remaining 8 bound and put 4 monkeys into the Forge Fiend, which ended up killing it. So turn 1, I'm in his deployment zone, and I've already killed a Forge Fiend and an 8 bound unit. So it just was kind of downhill from there.
Yeah, losing a Forge Fiend's big. I mean, even losing the 8 bound is big. Does Scarbrand do any work to you? He's usually pretty good about at least taking out a tank.
Hey, that dude kills an entire guerrilla unit by himself.
Yeah, he's really good. I wish he's what Angron wants to be. Which I'm sad because I'm not a Demonkin fan. I like the Warband. I wish I could take Scarbrand because I do like that. But great win because you got an 11-9 against him. Looks like it was a little close. Was it closer at the beginning or closer at the end?
More at the end, he was able to score a bunch of stuff. Scarbrand killed a bunch of monkeys, so my scoring power went down until I killed him.
Yeah, yeah. So
Um,
you did eventually take down Scarbrand. How did
oh yeah,
his Blood Crushers do? Were they kind of whiffed?
the Blood Crushers killed 5 crude hounds.
Yeah, I don't know. I like them, but yeah, I'm with you. That's not a good trade. Mark, so you were on stream. If anyone wants watches the final game on the Warp Charge Gaming against Duncan's Astra Militarium, um, and it was honestly, Mark, when I was watching the game, and spoiler, you lost like 2 Land Raiders pretty much right off the bat. I think.
Yeah,
Uh,
he
uh,
went first. I lost 2 Land Raiders.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, Mark doesn't have this, but Mark literally went like Gator mode, like transformed into a Gator, and then just stomped him 18-2. Um, tell me about this game, and then we're gonna go over some minor stuff that happened on stream that's very important, and maybe why you got more points because just knowing the rules kind of saves you. But yeah, if you could just go over that game a little bit. And nothing
So
against
basically,
I'm not shitting
yeah,
on Duncan for not knowing the rules. It's just some of the rules that were misplayed on the stream were not intentional. There were just kind of nuanced rules that are like on the back page of a rule set. You just don't realize it, but they do matter.
yeah. Yeah. So basically, he goes first. He's got like 3 Luminous Vanquishers with a really good anti-tank. He's got like 2 Rogaldorns are with the Rogaldorn commanders and a couple Scout Sentinels for reroll ones. So he smoke checks the Land Raider pretty easily, and then he kills the other one with the rest of his shooting. And I was like, all right, cool. But that's all his shooting, so he doesn't have any shooting to really deal with the guys inside to hop out. So I help out Tiggy and his boys right basically as close as possible when Lander dies to move them up. And then I get out Calgar and his boys behind the wall so they don't get shot. And then from there, he has no answer to really kill Calgar and Gilliman. Not until I'm in his lines. I move up. I get a good. I roll like a 1 on Calgar's advance, but I re-roll it into a 5. I'm able to charge a Lemurus Vanquisher turn 1 and tag a Rogel Dorn, and then that Rogel Dorn fails his battle shock, so he's not able to fall back and shoot with it. So he has to fall back into his lines. Gilman gets in position turn 1, and then turn 2, Gilman's in his deployment zone on his home objective because he charges Rush making sure that's on his home objective. He's not. He runs out of ways or places to hide, and I'm just in his face, just charging him, tying up tanks, killing tanks, and then just like moving on to the next one.
Yeah, and the fact you won that game, because I was watching the stream and I knew you guys won. I didn't really look at the individual scores. Spoiler alert, you guys tied with the away games on this 52-48, so it was definitely a hard fought battle. And when you lost those 2 Land Raiders, I would have probably folded, but you didn't get discouraged. You said, fuck it, we ball, as you usually do, and you pulled out the win. I will point out, like, it was, um, you played a strict game. And I think a lot of people don't realize how important sometimes a strict game is. And not in the fact that you didn't let him take things back, because you did. It was more of measuring things. Like, you have to measure, if you're measuring something going forward, you can't measure from the back of the base or the center of the model, especially from the center of the model, because that nobody can get the center perfectly. You can get the front of the model perfectly.
Yeah.
Um, I don't, and you and I talked about it. We don't think he did. He didn't do that intentionally. But
No.
the big thing was, and you and I had a brief discussion last night, because I was like, wait a minute, could he do this? Because you said he couldn't do it, and then we found the rule. But I'm actually trying to find. Yep. So what he did, and nothing to fault him, because a lot of players probably do this, is he was shooting
And to
something
be
at.
fair, the TO said he could do it, so it's not like because we definitely called the TO over there.
Yep. Yeah, but we found out the exact rule. So what happened is, he was shooting a tank, um, and he was rolling his multi meltas, and he was slow rolling, which wasn't an issue. You can slow roll all day long, but what he was trying to do is kill something, switch to another gun, and then switch back to his meltas, which you can't do. So in the rules, we found it last night. Um, it says, resolve all attacks made with the same weapon profile before resolving attacks with another weapon profile. So you can't do that. And what's weird, some of these rules are hard to find. I had to search a couple of different rule sets just to find that rule, because I was like, well, I'm pretty sure you could technically do that, but you can't. Um, and I don't. It's just, I'm not calling anybody out. I'm just
Right.
saying that knowing the rules, um, can win you games. And I've noticed, as I'm becoming a better player, you know, and using the rules to my advantage against someone that doesn't know the rules as well, sometimes it definitely turns the tide, because they think you can do something and you can't. For example, fights first. I had a fights first guy. I had the 6-inch pile in. I charged something, and all my last model was 6.1 inches away. Well, you can't heroically intervene. He's outside of 6. But I could pile into your fight first, and you lose fight first. And the opponent was like, "You can't pile into something you don't charge." And I said, "You absolutely can." And I knew what
Yes, you
page to
can.
point to, because in the past you couldn't. But
Yep.
knowing those rules, and that's something like you can't let your opponent take back. Not knowing a rule 3 phases down the road, no. So knowing the rules definitely turns the tide of games, and especially these nuanced rules, because I didn't know that rule when he was doing it, and you said he can't do it. I was like, Mark, are you sure? And that's, I wasn't questioning you, but I messaged you last night and we talked it out. I was like, can you do that? And you were like, well, I don't think you can, but Tio said you could, and whatever. And then we found the rule last night. And sometimes, you just, and it's hard to do on a time game in the middle of a game, but your next game you'll know for sure, and you'll know where to find it. So that's my little tangent on how sometimes knowing the rules, and you'll hear, War Games Live say every time you're on stream that you know the rules better than almost anybody in the game. You and Dusty are probably the rules, and well, of course, Davis being a TO, know the rules. So whenever we have a rules question, we always debate it with you guys. You guys are always right. I don't know why we debate it with you. Um, but continue with that. So, Davis, you had the 11-9 against World Eaters. Mark, you had the 18-2 against Astro, which was a great win, because if you go back, please go back and watch that game, because it was a very uphill battle for Mark, and he came back and won it. Zach's Thousand Sons got 11-9 against the Blood Angels. Against Don's Blood Angels, as Death Guard lost to Dan's Death Guard 2-18. Do you know much about that game, Davis, or was it just kind of?
It was whoever goes first wins, and
Yeah,
Ed didn't go first, so
yeah. And then Josh's Imperial Knights tied against Walker's Thousand Sons, which Thousand Sons are tough. Um, but great job, guys. I mean, you got a 52-48 on that one. You guys won overall. You went, I guess, 4-1-0, because you tied the last one.
hmm
But I think
Yep.
you guys were winning the tournament even if you lost this game.
pretty
It would
much,
have
yeah.
been. It was. Yeah. Even if we lost, we'd have to lose by a lot. I think we'd have to lose like every single game.
Yeah, and there was 12 teams, which is 12 times 5. I mean, that's a lot of players. So you guys brought out the win, and you beat. I mean, looking at these these matchups. First off, it was great practice against or for ATC for you guys. Um, Sadly, you're losing Zach, but Mike's a good player too. By all means, he's good. And ATC is coming up a couple weeks.
Yep.
So you guys are going out there. I wish I could go. My son and I are taking a cruise, so I will be there next year, but not this year. So I will hopefully be interviewing you two again because you guys walked away from that, secured your golden ticket, and going to Worlds. Um, so that's about it for that. Some upcoming events. I know YTC is coming up. Um, I think you're TOing it, and Mark, you're talking about going Heart of War in Warminster.
Yeah, I'm set up for that.
Okay, yep. So a couple of us will be at a Heart of War at Warminster at Bazooka Games, the former Tables and Towers game. So we'll be there. That is July 26th and 27th. I just signed. You got August 9th. I unfortunately will not be able to make it. I've got a wedding to attend to. But your hobby place in Fredericksburg, is it the Fredericksburg one,
Yep.
Davis? Yep, is
Yep.
doing a GT down there the August 9th and 10th. And then August 16th and 17th, I signed up for games and stuff, which is in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Davis is TOing that. But it's a good practice for Nova. It's a couple weeks before Nova. Hopefully, Mark, you'll be going to that too. And then we get to take on Nova, which Davis is probably TOing that, so he will not be playing it. But Battle Brothers will be in full force at Nova. That is like our main tournament we go to. So if you guys want to come join us for beers or whatever, or get to know our club a little bit, we will be there. Was there anything you guys wanted to add about any of the games or anything else 40K related before we head out?
Nah, but I'm all good. Appreciate it.
I think I'm good.
All right, guys. Well, do y'all have any events this weekend you're going to?
Not this weekend.
Not this
Nah.
weekend, taking a weekend off. Then ATC will be handing on. Well, all right, guys. Well, I appreciate you joining me, and then we will probably do one more episode and then take a break until ATC is over because I will be on a 10-day cruise. So I'll be joining the Caribbean while you guys are sweating over the table. So see you guys next time.
All right, bud.
All right.
Yep.